Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mystic Tides Tarot. I hope everyone is doing good. We are going to be doing another pick a card, and I'm just holding this deck in all kinds of ways because she is gorgeous. I mean, look at that. It's such a gorgeous deck. So this is the deck I'm going to be using. It's the Cowgirls and Aliens Oracle, and I'm going to be using it to help y'all pick your piles. I'm going to do 3 piles, which is what I've been doing recently. And let's see. Okay, for sure this one. This one. The pilot, the bartender. Okay, let's get one more. This one. The cyborg. These are some big cards. Okay. So these are your 3 cards. Pile 1 will be the pilot, pile 2 the bartender, pile 3 the cyborg. As always, the timestamps will be down below, so you can go ahead and pick your pile, and I'll see you for your reading. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your reading. So you picked the pilot. Oh, my card's already wanting to jump out. So you picked the pilot. I will seek out inspiration. So you're someone who likes to be the leader, who likes to take the lead. You don't like to be left out or to be told last minute the plans for anything, whether it's an event or, you know, a party, a get together with friends, even if it's something casual. You like to be the one that's in the know. And this tends to put you in a position where you end up maybe taking on a little bit more responsibility than you should. But you do so because you want things to be done a very specific way, and not everyone really does things the way that you do, which is kind of like a pat on your own back, but also like it could be quite heavy, right? So let's see what the tarot has to say for our pile number 1. Yeah. Put this one over here. This one, let's put this up higher. There we go. Now you can actually see. And for some reason, I'm feeling this one too. So we're just going to do this many cards right now. Oh. So we have the 9 of Chilies or the 9 of Wands in this deck. Or it's the 9 of Chilies in this deck, but it's the 9 of Wands. And as I mentioned, it could be quite heavy, right? So the 9 of Wands is someone who has been doing what they've been doing for a while. They may be a little bit tired, and a lot of people might be telling them to stop and to quit, but they're like, but baby, I still got more left in the tank. What do you mean I have to stop? And this kind of like supports what I was saying earlier. But then right here we have the 8 of Knives, which is the 8 of Swords. And in the 8 of Swords, you have someone who is trapped. Like right here, you see this person literally about to get ran over by this train. And a very common interpretation of the 8 of Swords is, you know, you're bound, but by your own making. Like somebody didn't put you there, you put yourself there. You're in control, which kind of makes sense with you being the pilot, because if you are typically in control because you don't let anybody else be in control, then where you find yourself is of your own making, which can feel a bit harsh sometimes because we want to think that we would make the best decisions for ourselves, and we try, but it doesn't mean that that's always the case. And that's okay. Like it's not something that you want to let destroy you, like that knowledge, right? Like it's okay that sometimes you put yourself in less than ideal positions. And a lot of it may have to do with the fact that you like to put yourself into test situations because you want to know if you're up for the challenge. It might be also a way of kind of preparing yourself for future things that you think are going to be harder. It's kind of like you put yourself under your own psychological and like life and soul spiritual test even. That's what's coming through. And with the star, it's like, these cards don't seem so good, right? Like they seem a little scary. Maybe to you, you're like, fuck it, bring it on, bitch. Yeah, I feel that. But the star is telling us, even if a little part of you is a little scared, maybe, or feels like um, this reading may be a little much, the star's here to remind us that you can always go from where you're at to any other place. Like, you're never stuck on a track. You know, like right here, she's stuck on one track that's about to get, she's about to get destroyed, basically. And the star is here to tell us you're not stuck there. Like, whether you put yourself there or you didn't, you're still not stuck there. You have what it takes to get yourself out of this situation. And the star's here to remind you that, yes, you have the power. Now, let's kind of like pause for a second and see how we can untangle this, right? How can we get to a situation where you're not seeing yourself in this position, right? And we have the Four of Pentacles here, or cactus, but pentacles, and the Two of Swords. Actually, yeah, there's a lot of swords here. So, you are an intelligent person, and you may be in your head a little bit more than you should, thinking about ways to strategize yourself into better positions. And that has to do with the fact that maybe in your past, or maybe still now, you feel some insecurities about where you're at. And it could be because you've never had that stability before that you now do, or that you still don't feel stable. Whether that's logically true or not is not what I'm saying. This is just the way that it may feel. And this may come from a history of taking on a lot. It's hard to feel stable when you're used to being the one that has to create the environment in which others feel stable. Because for you are creating it for somebody else, but who's creating it for you, right? And even though we know that we have the power to get ourselves in and out of situations, when you're prioritizing other people's needs because you fit the role of this leader, it's hard to put yourself first if you even think about yourself at all. And it's one of those things where you think that you're thinking about yourself because you're testing yourself and you're putting yourself up for the challenge. But when do you really actually come home to yourself to check in with yourself to make sure you're okay, instead of chasing after the next big thing? And right here with the Two of Swords, we have a blindfold. I was going to say another blindfold, because in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, the Eight of Swords is a person who is blindfolded and bound. So maybe for some reason, I'm remembering that right now. But the blindfold here, it's kind of like saying you can't see your way out of the situation. Logic may be what you traditionally rely on in order to get yourself out of situations or to make decisions, because this is a card about decisions too. But this time, that's not what's being asked. It's kind of like you don't have access to your logic in this situation. You need to access it via another way. It could be in a spiritual sense, emotional sense, or maybe even a physical sense. I know that that's probably kind of harder to grasp if you're used to being strategic about it. And how do you take your mind out of something when it's literally what runs our entire body, our existence, and tells us what to do next? And it's not trying to say like, don't think. It's just don't do what you usually do when you're strategizing, when you're thinking, maybe even overthinking about something. And then right here, we have the Seven of Swords. Now, the Seven of Swords can be interpreted a bunch of different ways. A lot of the times, the Seven of Swords is seen as like somebody who's a thief, or getting somewhere by a not so, how should I say this? It's a means that may not be socially acceptable, like a thief, right? I think I said thief already. I don't know. But it's kind of like saying strategize, but in a way different than you've done it in the past, in a way that might even almost feel criminal compared to how you've been doing it. So it's unorthodox for you. So it's not saying don't think about it. It's just saying you need to approach it from a totally different way. And this is because if you put yourself in a situation, then how is taking yourself out of it going to happen if you don't know how to do that? Because what you've already been doing is what led you there in the first place. So you have to like strategize differently. And then with the Ace of Cactus, we kind of have this opportunity to see with a different lens. You know, we go from the Four of Cactus, which is like, we want the stability. We may not have it, or we may not think that we have it, or we may not appreciate that we have it, to all the way back in the beginning, Because after you change the way that you see things, that you strategize about things, that you try to solve things, it almost gives you like a reset to be able to change the way that you've been running things for yourself for good. Or at least not for you to stay in this position and allow you like this chance to, I don't want to say repeat the cycle, but rewrite the script. That's what I want to say. You can rewrite the script. So this reading is very chill, which I think is interesting because I usually don't feel that these cards are chill at all. Most of these cards are not chill. I mean, this one's always good. This one's nice to see. This one I have a personal vendetta with. Not that you care. This one I dislike seeing because it almost is my indicator that burnout is coming up close. This one I don't like either. This one I'm not a friend with. You know, so there's like a good amount of cards here that are not my favorites. But I'm feeling so peaceful in this reading. And maybe it's because I'm not telling you anything that's super brand new, so I don't feel like this aggression from you, but it could also be you giving in to the message as opposed to fighting it, which is, I think, the most beautiful thing that you can do is that surrender, because that surrender is so hard when you're somebody that's meant to be the leader and that is used to being counted on, and that if they don't take that leadership position, their mind goes all kinds of places in terms of catastrophizing possible consequences. So I like the fact that this energy feels very relaxed, very chill, very not anxious. But this is all I have for you, pile one. I hope that something resonated with you. And if not, feel free to check out the other piles. And I will see you again for another reading. Bye. Hello, pile two, and welcome to your reading. You chose the bartender. I will give others support and listen with empathy. How beautiful is that? I think it's cool that the bartender is even a card in this pick a pile, because, I mean, I've never been a bartender and I don't have a whole lot of experience with bartenders because I don't tend to drink a whole lot, let alone at a bar. But that idea that someone who's not carrying that obvious label of a healer or of therapist or counselor does act as that role. And that kind of like tells me that this is the start of the reading here. You know, maybe you chose the bartender because you know a bartender or you had a good experience with a bartender, but this reading has to do with caretaking and taking care of others. So let's see what the cards have to say in regards to that. Starting off pretty strong there. Oh, yes. And let's do this one too. I don't know why I get so fussy about the cards when they never end up looking straight anyway. Okay, pile two. So we have the Emperor, the Hermit, and Strength. I'm focusing on those in the beginning because they are major arcana. And it's dramatically more major arcana than in the first pile. So this tells me that this is something that's bigger for you than either you know now or yet. And the Emperor is a leader. He is the one who is going to take over a project and make sure that it's done and it's done right. The Hermit is someone who's not afraid to be alone. They're not afraid to go into the dark depths of their soul to extract the knowledge and wisdom necessary to get things done. And with Strength, we see the need to be able to accept certain things. And this is not to say that you are not the creator of your own destiny. This is a way for you to learn to cope with things that you can't have immediately, right? Because, you know, we live in a society where we're used to having so much things immediately and there's so much convenience. And I'm not trying to say that you're a brat or that you're someone who has no patience, but the Strength card showing up really makes me think of, just because you don't see what you're working towards, even in some small way does not mean it is not meant for you. It does not mean it's not coming for you. And oh man, this one hits home, and the strength card particularly has come up so much, so much in so many ways. And it's kind of like this reminder that things get scary, and sometimes they get scary really quick. And when they do, it's so easy to be like, okay, you know what? I'm not built for this. I'm not built for this. I don't want to do this. This is not for me. I think I'm good just staying over here where this scary shit is not happening. And that's like our natural instinct. That's our brain trying to protect us and save us from further grief, from pain, from they being brain, being the brain, they think they're saving us from death. So forgive your brain for having that reaction, because we can be very judgmental about things that we were born into or born with. And we need to also practice that forgiveness, right? But anyways, moving on to the Ten of Swords. This tells me that it is going to be an ending. It may be painful. And this is, I think, also why the Strength card came out, because it's telling us it's okay. You got this. And I love how in this Strength card, this character is wrapped in this blanket, because I associate that with being held. And sometimes, we don't always have a support system, or maybe we live alone, or maybe we're not comfortable with the people we live with, or maybe we are, but we don't want to let them know that we're feeling this way. If you want to feel a little bit of an embrace, grab a blanket and wrap it around you. Wrap it around you really tight and just cradle yourself for a little bit. I know maybe it sounds out of pocket or weird or childish or whatever, but it is soothing. And if that's what we need to do to be able to be that motherfucking emperor, then that's what we need to do. And nobody needs to know about it. You don't have to tell anybody about it, okay? It's between you and me. It's okay. But yeah, the Ten of Swords, like, that's not an easy card. That's a lot of people like saying that this card is the card of betrayal. So I don't know if that resonates with you or not. And this can be like a literal betrayal, or it can be like a betrayal, a metaphorical one. It could be one that you feel within yourself, or maybe even you have like this resentment towards your spirit guides or whatever spiritual entity or goddess that you believe in, because a lot of the times we pray, we ask for, we petition, we do spell work, we do ritual, we engage in these spiritual currents because we strongly believe, or we strongly need to believe, that there's something bigger than us out there that's going to come in and help us, especially when we're feeling like we need to be held. And maybe you haven't been feeling that, and that's why you're feeling that betrayal, because you're like, the fuck you mean I got to do everything by myself? This is so hard and painful. Nobody gave me the fucking manual. I have no idea how to read this fucking script, and it's a totally different language. Like, what am I supposed to do? And unfortunately, that's where the strength comes in. Because the strength isn't about you knowing you're strong and then having something difficult come through and then you being able to get through it flawlessly. The strength comes from those moments where you do not feel that strength is within you, and you still rising to that call. When something doesn't look like it's for you, you refusing to let it go and still going forth and doing that motherfucking thing. And I feel like I've been cussing a lot in this pile, but it's just because I'm feeling like this passion come through. It's not even fire though. It's, I don't know. It's like cold and metal, and not in a like inhuman way, but it's kind of like you're made of stronger stuff. You have that metal within you. And I guess this reading is reminding you of that. Like, that's really coming through, like, as like the main message. But I'll go ahead and keep going through because, got a time limit here. So we have the Three of Pentacles, Three of Cactus, Three of Pentacles, the Four of Chilies, Four of Wands. And these two cards are beautiful together because this is stability. This is also a celebration, and it's working in collaboration with others. So this can be like if you're an artist, for example, this could be like collaborating on having some type of exhibit with other painters or other fellow creatives, and thereby creating some kind of a stability in a time where it's felt like I've been trying to do this and it's just not for me. Oh. I just got interrupted with a phone call. You heard that vibration. But yeah, I feel like actually that is part of this. It is an interruption. It's an interruption in the possible hellscape that you might have been experiencing in your own mind, where you're almost convincing yourself that this is not for you, that you can't fulfill that role as emperor. And you've dug into these depths quite a bit. You know what it's like to be a hermit, but unfortunately, you did not leave there unscathed. And a lot of the times, it leaves you in a place where you're in your mind way too much, and you need to be brought back to earth and grounded so that you can actually use what you know how to use and put those plans to action. So I feel like you've been called to work collaboratively with others. And this is how you actually go back into that bartender position, into this person who's able to support others with empathy. Maybe you felt like your well has run dry because you've been so like burnt out with your own thoughts that you can't possibly be there with others, let alone be there for others, let alone work with them. And this is kind of like that call that your strength comes from you saying, I'm not going to quit on this, making those plans and following through. Because you're not someone who gets depleted by being around people anymore, even though maybe in the past you did. Okay? You're different now. This blanket has changed you. I don't know why I said that. But yeah, you're different now. And this is shown too because you're starting to create that stability. You're starting to create this foundation that's going to help you really stay away from going into this other phase of catastrophizing that you might step into on occasion. And it doesn't mean that, oh, that means you're never going to go through it again. I mean, that's totally up to you. But if it comes and goes in waves, that's also totally normal. So I don't want you to put pressure. The pressure is high, okay, in this pile. There's a lot of pressure going on. And with the 5 of Jugs, this tells me that there might be some moments where you get really in your feelings, and that's okay. You know, cry if you need to, but don't stay there. Please don't stay there. It is okay to be in your feelings. It is okay to do your due diligence with feeling your emotions, but understand that you have the power to bounce back always. And emotions are temporary. And once you feel them and you give them their proper funeral, don't forget who the fuck you are. Because you are the emperor, okay? You are the one in power. You hold the power. Don't ever forget that, pile 2. Okay. Okay, pile 2, that's all I have for you today. I hope that you got something good from this reading, and I will see you for your next reading. Bye. Hello, pile 3. You picked the Cyborg. The card says, I will accept my emotions. Oh, whoa. Let's leave these out. I will accept my emotions, not be defined by them. What a beautiful, powerful, and much needed statement after pile number 2. I think that that card really goes well with the end of the message of pile 2. That's why I said that. So if that seems like something that interests you, feel free to go check out pile 2, but that's not necessary. Okay, let's get this reading started. You know, I find it really interesting that depending on the reading, I will either pull upright or like lay them down with the backs facing. I don't know why I do that. I think it's just the energy of this channel, or maybe this message, or the whole channeling experience, because I don't normally do this when I read cards for anyone else, including myself. So yeah, I just thought I'd say that. But let's see what we got here. So, oh, here we start again with the whole long nails issue. Jesus. Okay. 6 of Jugs. Okay. The Devil. I love that Devil card. It's so funny. Then we have the 3 of Jugs. The Page of Daggers, the 5 of Pentacles, the King of Daggers, and the Sun. Oh, isn't that a beautiful card? Okay, so, you know, there is a lot of emotions on this reading. But then it's also balanced. So we have the Six of Jugs and the Three of Jugs, which is the water suit. So there's your emotions right there. But then we have the Page of Daggers and King of Daggers, which is more of like the mental aspect of things. We have the Five of Pentacles, which is the only pentacles in this, the only pentacle card in this pile. So it tells me that it's not like a huge highlight of the reading. And then we end with the Sun, with the Devil right there, but then we end with the Sun. So this has a very like, very balanced and good energy. It has like good, vibrant energy. And yeah, let's get started. So the Six of Jugs, this is called a nostalgia card, right? So we're talking about like happy memories. We're talking about like, you know, when I was a kid, we used to go out to the lake in the summer and we used to have a ball, kind of like that energy. But with this pile, I'm getting that this is you creating these memories. Like, I don't know if it's something that you're actively trying to do, maybe because you've been in some pretty deep like waters of emotion, that you want to make sure that you're also creating happy memories and happy emotions. And maybe that's why we find ourselves with the Devil here, because a lot of times when we're trying to create something, especially when it comes to like emotions, positive emotions, we end up getting into like this party mode. And this isn't a bad thing for you. I actually like this for you. There may be a temptation to maybe stray a little too far left, but I don't want to say that that's a warning because I'm not feeling that here. And then right here, we have the Three of Jugs, which kind of like I feel like these three go together because you have the Six of Jugs, the Devil, and then we have the Three of Jugs. So it's kind of like you're trying to make these memories. You're trying to really create these beautiful emotions that you can look back. And of course you deserve that. And then the Devil in the middle of these three cards tells me there's a lot of like sexy energy even, and this playful vibe, adult play, and I'm here for it. With the Three of Jugs, it's like you're finally being able to either you found a friend group that you can party with or that you can have these memories with, or you're going to, or you're finally seeing that the friend group that you've had all along, you can actually create those memories with. So the Devil is like, oh, this temptation, and you might like end up doing some things that are not like the most approved of by society. But you know what? Fuck it. Like society isn't going to approve of half of the shit that you do anyway. So I'm here just like kind of encouraging you to go ahead and get wild with it, because after this period, you start getting a little serious. And that's not a bad thing. And then there might be a period where you're feeling a little like, okay, maybe I partied too hard. You know, maybe I partied too hard and now I'm feeling a little like I need to isolate myself. Like I'm not fully balanced, but this right here, it's not like a dark night of the soul. It's more of like a pause, a gentle pause after all this like memory creating and this like joyous partying time or celebration. You're wanting to take things more seriously. You may not really know how to do that. You're feeling like you may not have the resources that you need to do that. And it may feel a little unstable, but during this time, this like walk in the desert for contemplation, you're going to end up transforming into the King of Daggers. So that's a huge upgrade. You know, you have the Page, then you have the Knight, the Page, the Knight, then the Queen, then the King. So you do a whole jump from like freshman in college to fully graduated senior because you're allowing this moment of reflection to come through. And this can only happen after you've allowed yourself to do this. So it's kind of like you're going to party hard a little bit. Then you're going to be like, okay, I got to reel it back in, going to do some contemplation. And then what's going to come out on the other side is going to be like this beautiful, it's like this transformation where it's not just like the caterpillar and the butterfly. Like it's more than that. It's like the caterpillar and then the butterfly transformed into like an eagle. Like, I don't know. That's just what I got. Maybe eagle is one of the animals that you resonate with or you see as a symbol or a sign for something. I'm not sure. But the eagle was coming through. And then we end with the sun. Like I said, this energy in this reading is very high vibe. It's very sunny. It's very fun. And the King of Daggers is someone that's going to do very well in the sun. In the sun, meaning like the spotlight. So I don't know what your job is. I don't know if you work in a place where you use your voice a lot. There's a lot of communication. Obviously, you have to communicate in most of the jobs that are out there that I know of. But this is like communicating in a leadership position, not just communicating on like, oh, hey, Joe, did you finish the spreadsheet that Maurice wants? I don't know why I use those names, but that's what it is. It's not that. It's more of like, okay, you're a strategist and you are going to be the one that is making the shots and the calls on this. And you're the perfect one for that job because you've earned your stripes. Okay. And then these two together, it's like chef's kiss, because not only are you the leader and not only are you meant to be the leader because you have the most logical strategy out of everyone there, you're also being blessed by being put in the spotlight at the same time. Because think about this. A lot of the times when we're having like our best moments, we may or may not be lucky enough to be seen and recognized. We may not be lucky enough to have the sun on us when we're having those best moments. Sometimes the sun's on us when we're not having the best moments. Sometimes the sun is on us and it is burning us, okay? You see the cracked earth? Sometimes that happens. But this is telling me that you're going to get the spotlight on you. Even if it happens while you're feeling like this is going to be the end result. So this is what matters the most. So you're going to get to basically walk it like you talk it. You know, you're going to be able to flaunt your stuff, show off your skills, and where you truly shine in the spotlight. Okay. It's like the equivalent of someone who was trying out for a play and they got the part, but for some reason they haven't been able to memorize the script and they're so embarrassed about it, and it's opening night and you finally got the script down and you know for a fact without a doubt in your mind that you know every single line and it is your moment to shine and you just seize it. Okay. So that's what I have for you, pile number 3. I hope that this resonated and you got something for it. Wow. Okay. From it. And I will see you in the next reading. Goodbye.